aquarianradio.com.
Aloha, this is Enki. You know me as Aquarius, and this is our age, the Sata Yuga, time to celebrate with us. We have programs on all chakra tantra, love styles and relationship choices, counseling strategies and techniques that you can use at home. We have extraterrestrial radio where we deal with alienology, paranormal people, and we have an experiencers network. We have a section called Ancient Aliens, and the programs therein are Enki Speaks, Nimma, the Mother of Humanity, has her program, and we revise ancient anthropology. And most important of all, we have peace paradigms, because this is the age of peace, harmony and understanding, sympathy and love abound. No more falsehoods or derisions, mystic crystal dreams and visions.
And here are your hosts, Janet and Dr. Sasha Lesson.
Aloha and welcome to Aquarian Radio. This is a special edition, a New Year's Eve edition of Counseling Lessons. And this is Learn from Lives Lapsed. So today is 12/31/2012, the eve of the new year. And today we're going to learn from Lives Lapsed. My name is Janet Lesson. I am your host, and my co-host is...
Aloha, this is Dr. Sasha Lesson.
Go ahead, take it away.
Okay, we're going to look at past life regression, which humanity has known about for a really long time. And humans all over the world had the experience of thinking of themselves in other times, other places, with other bodies. And it was only till Constantine and the Council of Nicosia decided that they were going to make it a sin to even deal with any kind of life beyond the body, except for the reconstruction of the body that you had in beyond the pearly gates in some kind of fantasy heaven that the Catholics dreamed of. But humans have known for a really long time about this, and what's happened in science. People who couldn't measure things, if you couldn't measure it, it didn't exist for a long time in the sort of narrow realms of science. And Carl Jung, a great psychologist, had past life images, and he probably was Goethe in a past life, but he kept it to himself because he knew he'd be ridiculed. And
who's Goethe?
Oh, Goethe is one of the greatest philosophers of all times, a German philosopher, but I don't want to go too much into that. But Jung also was a philosopher. My teachers, Dr. Hal Stone and Roger Wilger, both studied with Jung. And the reason that Jung told everybody and told other his colleagues that were telling him of his past life dreams, he said, don't talk about it, you're just going to be ridiculed. And this was because about the time that Bridie Murphy had said that she had remembered a modern Chicago woman in the early 1900s, had remembered a past life in ancient Ireland. And it turns out that this was people were widely skeptical of it. She had cited all kinds of equipment and stuff that was used. And it turns out that she had gone to the Chicago World's Fair where they had a display of ancient Irish utensils and stuff, so that they discredited all that. But since then, there's been years and years of very serious scientific studies by Stevenson in India of children that kept saying that, well, look, I was born in another place. There's all the studies of prodigies, people who know all Mozart's music from the time they're an infant and so forth. But some of the most interesting things in past life therapy, the way that we therapists do it. And I'm a certified past life therapist. I studied with Roger Wilger for 3 years, and I was with Stan Groff in holotropic breathwork for many, many years. And this is amazing stuff. But at the first level, when we say, imagine that you are in another body, in another time, in another place, and something is about to unfold, and let it unfold and have the experience and see what life scripts you get. People get all kinds of things, and it's that is useful to them therapeutically, and we don't deal with the ontological or reality status of what they say therapeutically. We're just concerned with helping them. The most typical help is with phobias, when people are, say, really afraid of crowds or cats, and you'd say, well, let's look at your history. Do you have anything with cats or anything with crowds? And there's nothing like that. So it looks like a phobia means an irrational fear. Okay, so then when we do a little hypnosis and we regress the person, and they say, well, I was in Africa and this lion killed me, and that sort of makes sense. And what's really important to us is that once they deal with the trauma of the lion killing them in this past life, it doesn't matter whether it's imagined or not, their fear of cats goes away. Or in the case of a very typical one, people are afraid of crowds. They've never had any problems with crowds in this life, but they're in some medieval past life where they're in a town. It's a walled town, and the Mongols or somebody are coming in, and everybody's all crowded together and getting slaughtered. When a person actually relives in catharsis, that is, lets the feelings out and looks at the scripts, and we're going to teach you how to do that, they then are no longer afraid of crowds. In other words, it works therapeutically, and we don't care in the therapeutic sense whether it was real or not, or just in their imaginations. However, what's really fascinating is that there's all kinds of evidence that people can speak languages. When I was with Stan Groff, I had a guy that was speaking ancient Japanese while he was regressed, and we looked up all this stuff, and sure enough, that was what it was. And one of Stan's clients remembered being a Spanish priest and coming to join the Spanish Armada when it was trying to invade England, and the ship wrecked, and he took refuge in a cave, and he buried this signet ring in the cave. Well, Stan's client was so sure of this, he had to go to England, the south of England, and he found the cave, and he dug in the back of it, and he'd never been there before in this life, and there was the signet ring just where it was. So we have lots of evidence that people actually can remember things, and what they remember is verifiable. And so that's very, very, very interesting. So we're going to look, first of all, Janet and I are going to go through some common kinds of things that people tend to have in this life that indicates the kind of past lives they may have. So the first one, and I'll read what the current situation is, and Janet will tell you what the past life they might have had. So ask yourself, are you or someone you know afraid of being left, or do you feel insecure?
You could see a past life where you were deserted, separated in a war, orphaned, sold into slavery, or left to starve.
Do you feel depressed or apathetic?
You could see a past life where you lost a beloved or parent, didn't complete mourning, killed yourself, gave up in war, mass murder, exile.
Do you fear beasts, fire, water, bugs, knives, disasters, smothering? Do you feel guilty? Do you play the martyr?
You could see a past life where you were hurt and killed by beasts, flames, water, bugs, knives, disaster, smothering made others die.
Do you overeat, starve, worry about money?
You could see a past life where you starved, were poor, or bankrupt.
Do you suffer from injuries or physical abuse?
You could see a past life where you died as a young soldier.
Do you get into family struggles?
You could see a past life where you were betrayed, bullied, or cheated by relatives.
Do you have sex problems or genital infections, or are you involved in sex abuse?
You could see a past life where you were raped, abused, or tortured, or you raped, abused, or tortured. If abused this life, you imagine abusing in prior lives.
Do you have cruel impulses?
You could see a past life where you were tormented with sexual undercurrents and want to get even.
Do you have marriage problems?
You could see a past life where you had reserved sex and
No,
power.
reverse sex, where you
Oh, I'm
were a
sorry.
man or a woman opposite of what you are now.
Sorry. You could see a past life where you had reversed sex and power roles with your mate.
Do you have chronic physical ills?
You could see a past life where you were hurt or killed by trauma to areas now troubling you.
Do you have throat ailments?
You could see a past life where you were denounced someone held in thoughts.
Do you have ulcers?
You could see a past life where you were terrorized.
Do you have neck aches?
You could see a past life where you were hanged or strangled.
Do you suffer wanderlust or long for a homeland?
You could see a past life where you were exiled, separated from loved ones.
Do you have traumatic labor or birth? Did you have traumatic labor or birth?
You could see a past life where you had the same kind of trauma at death.
Do you feel victimized?
You could see a past life where you were tortured, tormented, took advantage of, killed.
Do you feel ill or depressed at certain times of year?
You could see a past life where you were hurt, traumatized at that time of year.
So you can see that there's these are all scripts that Dr. Wilger found very, very common. And we if any of these seem to might apply to you or someone you know well, just think about this, because we're going to do some exercise, and Janet's going to go through it. And if you look at our website, we're going to give you the instructions step by step of how you can access your own past lives in a way that lets you see the script and re-script yourself so that you're not suffering. And so a past life can exaggerate, or it can explain your agony, your ecstasy, your confusion, or your compulsion. You can feel your current, your childhood, and even birth joy and pain as though it belonged to someone that you used to be. So one of the things that we know in psychotherapy is that anything that's happening between you and your therapist, right there in the room with the therapist, will have some kind of resonance with what's happening in your life, in your daily life, will have some kind of resonance with things that happened in your childhood. And if we tell you to make up a story or to access a past life, it will contain the same themes. And so we want you, when you start to have a past life, don't even worry about whether it's real or not. Just allow yourself to feel whatever there is to feel. And then you express the pain, the horror, the shame, whatever it is. You're going to live the main events of the past life, and the death too. You're going to see how the loss, the hurt, the guilt, the grief, the bitterness you felt in the past life leads you to defend, rationalize, or avoid resonances of that in this life. Another thing is you probably will image a past life that's opposite yours now, or a series, a life where you were enslaved, raped, or killed. And if that's what you do, then you're going to get a life when you're the one that's enslaving, raping, or killing. There's a balance if you do a series of these. And what you do in this, we'll take you through it, is you forgive yourself and you forgive your antagonists. And one of the interesting things is you'll probably see a past life where you parented the soul who's now your mother or father. The other thing is that there's very common, most people get it, is past life sex reversals. If you're a male, you'll see an earlier life where you were a female. And the women in your life now were men. And one of the things is that once you start doing this, you'll see that whatever past life and the characters that are there that you imagine or remember, however you look at that, resonate with the people that are in your life now. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to take Janet through a past life sequence. And all this is on our website, which is www.schoolofcounseling.org, www.schoolofcounseling.org. And we have all these things thoroughly written out so you can follow it at your leisure. But right now, as we take Janet through this, if it's safe for you to do so, you can close your eyes and actually go through it yourself and sort of hear Janet's, what she's doing, but it'll start your own process going, and then go to the website and you can do it yourself. Okay, so the first thing I want everybody to do is imagine that your spirit is circling the world, circling Earth.